Hello, everyone. Welcome to Adventures in Lollygagging. We are playing Star Trek, and yep, we got our fingers crossed here. No reason why. We don't need to jinx anything. We are starting a new episode, and that means that we get our monologue again. We're going to have our theme song in, which Jeff will be performing a cappella, and then we'll be getting right into our captain's log. So, Twitch, the final frontier. These are the adventures of the channel Lollygagging. Its continuing mission to roleplay with new systems, to seek out new dice and new mechanics, and to boldly roll what no one has rolled before. Jeff, our theme song.
Okay, it goes.
All right, everyone start harmonizing. Come on, keep it going, keep it going. All right, we're gonna practice. We're gonna practice. We'll have it better for the next episode. All right. Let's jump in. We're gonna have some character introductions here in a second, but we're starting a new episode, and of course, we pan in on the USS Intrepid. It's flying through deep space right now, patrolling what appears to be a rather abandoned sector. And we hear the voice of Captain Shelby. As I'm in completely the wrong notes. Captain's log, stardate 56952.0. We are 1 week into a patrol of the Cardassian DMZ. Our Cardassian friends continue to trail us on their side of the border, but there has been no sign of hostility. Being this close has the crew on edge, but I have no reason to believe this will be anything other than ordinary. Now, let's go on, and you have spent the entire week going through basic duties. It's a patrol mission. It doesn't require a lot of work from most of you, so it allows you to fill your time with pastimes or with busy work. For scientists, you're scanning the area, just trying to pick up any sort of readings to collect for Starfleet research. For communications, you're going over various files, possibly trying to pick up Cardassian communiques. For command, of course, the executive, there's always things to be doing, making sure that people are properly supplied and outfitted, a lot of busy work there. And then medical, you're busy just taking care of the entire ship. There are always people coming to your door, things like that. Tactical, there are 2 Cardassian Zh'Azollarh class battle cruisers that have been trailing you throughout this whole patrol. They're on the other side of the demilitarized zone, so they're not an overt threat, but that is something to keep on top of. Outside of those duties, what have you been spending time on? And I'm going to roll randomly this time because I always pick on Derek for going first. And I'm trying to be a little bit easier on him. So Derek.
Show the dice right now.
Yep,
I don't believe
rolled
you.
a 1. I rolled a 1. I swear. All right, Derek. What would you be spending your time on when you're off duty?
So my character is Zharg Dvorggern. He's a right. Just quick intro on him. In his off time, he really likes making like sculptures. However, this is like sculptures made of like metal, so this requires like welding and like metalworking. So he's just kind of like in like maybe the engineering bay or like in an operation, like not surgical operation, but like just an ops area with like a blowtorch and just kind of making some like random sculptures. Just different things he thinks of or takes inspiration of when visiting other cultures.
That's awesome. I love that. And you are familiar with a few other cultures too, right?
Yes, I do have one of my focuses was the Betazoid culture focus, actually, from one of my previous career events. It was lauded by another culture. So yeah, some of my sculpting work is inspired by what they do in their building styles and in their art forms and whatnot.
And of course, the Betazoids are known for their empathy, which then has created a vibrant culture. They're quite popular as artists and entertainers for that reason. So it makes sense that you would be trying to fill in, to follow in those footsteps, so to speak.
Yeah, and of course, being a Tellarite, it's got to be provocative art. That's like, fight the power, man. Because I don't sound so much like Dr. Talas.
You are in a organization with a military hierarchy. and you fight the power. I appreciate it. It's a utopia, so you're allowed to have all sorts of political viewpoints and still fit into Starfleet. What like scale are these sculptures? Are they small little things? Would they be large? Would they take up like an hangar bay?
Yeah, he doesn't do anything that's like gargantuan. I wouldn't say anything more than maybe like 6 feet, 8 feet. But he does, yeah, from small, like little desk figurines, like that might be like his holiday gifts to people as like a little desk figurine, all the way up to like 6, 8 foot statues.
So this sculpture that you're working on now, what size is this?
I would say this one's kind of just like a mural. So with metalworking, you can still paint some of the metal when you're done sculpting it. So it's kind of just like, imagine like a canvas-sized art piece. And after being on a planet that was around harvesting, it's just like the mix of like metal, but then like the green colors, the paints would be like the green colors of harvests and crops, and it's kind of blending of things just after the time he spent apparently 6 years worth on the last planet, who I just forgot the name of.
And while I'm interrogating you, one more question. Is this a gift for someone, like you said, or is this for your personal collection?
I guess it would be a gift for everyone in the way that like he would put it in like a public space, like if there's a cafeteria or like an auditorium. It's something that could be hung on a wall. It's got depth to it. Like it probably protrudes maybe like a good, inch or two, because he likes to do dynamic art. It's not just flat. So some pieces might jut out a little bit, but it's definitely something you could hang on a wall.
That's awesome. I love that. Let's open it up to the whole group here. The USS Intrepid, like many large ships, has a lounge, which is like a bar, a recreation area. On the Enterprise, it's known as 10 Forward. What would we say that the lounge looks like on the Intrepid? Is it a little bit more casual? Does it focus on like music and drinks, or is it more of like a rec center where people are like constantly playing board games and just socializing in that way? What do you guys think it looks like?
Classic English pub.
I feel like it probably got pushed a little more towards the rec center as Dr. Talas kind of pushed out into it more and more, and the English pub got shoved a little, much to Argent's chagrin.
Oh my God! I will shove back.
It is a mess.
It feels like one of those things where it's like the when you have a play and you have the scenery, and like one side it's this thing, and then you like spin it on its wheels and it's like the other thing. I feel like there's like a few of those options, because I feel like, not that I'm going to speak for Danko, but more of the like musical lounge I think might have been.
Yeah,
but what about this?
Danko
They could have
wants like nightclub style, like that's what he wants, like, but elegant, not like 22-year-old like ravers or anything, like elegant nightclub style.
Elegant nightclub. Okay.
It could be fit with hollow emitters, and
that's
you
what
could
I was going to
dial in your location.
Oh, silly me, thinking in a 20th century way about a 24th century ship.
But exactly hollow.
Right.
So our lounge is a pseudo holodeck, and the theme changes by the hour, possibly. And then everything around it just slowly morphs into something else. And it really just, maybe the computer decides based on who's in there what sort of themes it starts going into. That sounds pretty interesting. Maybe we all okay with that?
It sounds like a really advanced college lounge, like dorm lounge, because it's just whoever's in there is what it ends up being.
It's like the room of requirements.
Yeah.
It's the room.
So it probably smells really bad, and it's really messy.
What do we think our lounge would be called? What would be a name for it?
I don't know. My first thought was that it's actually a Quarks franchise, but no.
The cluster bucket.
Well, we could call it the Dreaming as well.
Okay, we'll workshop it.
Okay.
You have something, Jeff?
Well, I was thinking like I'm trying to remember how DS9 ended. Did Nog go off on his own? Like
Nog's Starfleet.
Not Nog. Nog's dad. Nog's dad.
He became the Grand Nagus.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Couldn't remember. Okay.
And Quark franchised his bar across the Alpha Quadrant.
All right, so we'll workshop an idea for the name of our lounge, but right now it just very much takes the theme of whoever's in there, and it has quite a bit
comment. Drop a
Drop a
comment if you
comment
have an
in the
idea.
There you
comments.
go.
Look at
Yay.
you. Look at you farming engagement. That's great. I'm so proud of you. A bunch of people are
Out
doing
there
that lately.
hustling. And it's got art from our very own Dvorggern populating it as well. We've got a nice mural there to remember our time on Karina 7. I love that. Awesome, Derek. And let's go ahead and roll for next one. Derek again. No, I'm joking.
But this time he's making.
He comes into our Cork franchise and he sees everyone has been just like hanging dirty dish towels on top of it. And be
Oh,
like,
no.
it's not a.
Oh,
Yeah.
I know we would
And
too.
he just starts firing his disruptor everywhere. Right?
Oh,
So-
no.
It goes to you. Aaron,
Pew, pew.
what is Argent? What's Argent look like and what's he been doing?
So Argent's about 5'10", 6 foot tall. He's lean. He's got a military bearing about him. He's got short brown hair and a military cut. He's got sort of gray colored eyes, and his eyes are always on the move. He's a Dominion war vet. He was on Betazoid when it was captured, so he was part of the resistance on Betazoid. So he's always got that kind of in the back of his mind. So in his downtime, he spends a lot of his downtime training, because he doesn't know when the next death step is going to kick off. He's maybe got a little bit of PTSD that he's working through, but you would probably find him most of the time like either he's like running the decks with Samora Raken, the Vulcan, who he trains with, and the two of them would be running for physically condition, and at the same time they would be telepathically sparring with one another, because he's continuously trying to improve on his telepathic abilities. He sees that as an asset that most races don't have. And he would even see him probably in some vignettes actually sitting with her doing Vulcan meditations and trying to master mind melding and get into deeper telepathic disciplines. And that's pretty much how he spends his free time. When he's not doing that, he just kind of walks the decks of the ship, surface scanning the thoughts of every single crew member to make sure everything is going all right, and then dealing with situations as they arise so that the ship continues to run smoothly. He doesn't really ever see himself as being off duty.
Awesome. And Samora Raken, of course, is one of the Vulcan crew members that we built during our session 0. I believe that was the one Kipser built there. We rolled it as official, but we weren't able to tie that into our first session where it would have come up. So I think we can go ahead and say that Samora Raken is Starfleet now. And
Yes.
it makes perfect sense that Betazoid would be looking to strengthen their intellect with the Vulcan, who, of course, pursues logic above all else. Aaron, let me ask, what types of things would you be sparring over intellectually? Do you have
Not
political
not so-
difference between the two of you?
No, not so much. When I say telepathically sparring, I mean literally telepathically sparring, like entering into,
Okay.
a mindscape at the same time while they're pursuing physical activity, so they can, partition their thought processes, physically be moving, and then mentally be attacking one another and defending against it. Because although he was happy with his the work we did with the Romulans, he was a little concerned that a couple instances he was so focused telepathically that he was losing sight of his physicality. So he's really focused on finding that right balance.
So perhaps then we see both of you in one of the holodecks, where it's not a full system. You have the yellow grid on the black walls, but there are platforms that are moving constantly. And we see the two of you jumping between platforms, ducking behind cover that moves through, as the holodeck occasionally spawns in some sort of decoy or drone that also gives you a little zap if you aren't constantly moving. Kind of like a training drone, essentially, a training simulation that you're going through. Fantastic. I love that too. All right. Jeff, who are you playing and what are you doing with your downtime?
I am playing Doctor/Commander Vice Danko, Science Officer, Chief Science Officer, some might say, of the Intrepid. And in his downtime, in between, obviously supervising various scans of the region, he is hanging out a bit with his young Bajorran friend, Lieutenant Commander Jove Bonero, who, much like Vice Danko, very much enjoys the nightlife, dancing, you might say, and foods. And so the two of them are probably cashing in like their joint check, their joint chips for the holodeck to kind of create a variety of different nightclub atmospheres from a variety of cultures. And then when we don't have access to the holodeck, we're probably in our actual quarters of some kind, or maybe in Intrepid 10 Forward, actually making food. And interspersed between these like different kind of like two wild and crazy guys moments, you'll see Vice Danko will frequently make visits to the medical bay, because he's often sick because all the foods he eats are spicy foods, and the symbiote hates it. And so, especially since he's hanging out with Jove Bonero, who's Bajorran, so he's been eating a lot of Hasperat lately, and so he's constantly coming in just looking absolutely terrible, breaking out in hives. His stomach is killing him, but it's okay, it's fine because he wants the experience.
Bruh.
It's fine. No, it was better going in
totally,
than coming out.
Yeah, you need to like chill for your symbiote sometimes.
No. They'll be fine. I only have so much time left. They have plenty. No. And so that's basically what he's been doing. Just living it up in his golden years and dancing and eating lots of spicy food.
And you're gonna have to message me how to spell Joe Bonero as well.
It's in our supporting characters. It's Jove Monero.
Oh, Jove Monero. I misheard that. Okay.
Yeah.
Completely misheard that. Awesome.
Yeah. That's John Travolta that's a John Travolta from Saturday Night Fever as a Bajorran. That's who that is.
And Jove Monero is assigned to the helm. But occasionally works engineering, and you often see him wandering the corridors holding 2 buckets of just parts and materials, and dancing along and spinning with those 2 buckets.
I love it. Fantastic. And he regularly, I would imagine, Jove, this guy, regularly gets dressed down by Commander Argent for issues with his uniform, for constantly leaving it unbuttoned a little bit, and so you can kind of see, and he's constantly getting written up for it every time.
Gotta have that little bit of chest hair out.
He just does.
No one is gonna get these jokes.
I don't care. I really don't. I never care if people get my jokes.
I love it.
They make me laugh. That's all that is.
I respect it. All right, and then that leaves 2. Melissa, who are you playing, and what are you doing with your pastimes?
So I am Commander Hassel. I'm a Denobulan communication officer. So when we were kind of doing our preamble, kind of like where were we when we kind of got kind of the first mission for the stream, she was doing a practice for an upcoming performance of A Star is Born. So now that we're back from the away team, they're able to put on the performance of A Star is Born for, whoever in the crew decides to assemble in our all-purpose room when it has been transformed into a kind of proper stage for such a performance.
And while you're the one like directing this performance as well, right? Like you're staging the whole thing.
No, she's the star, of course.
Well, you can star and direct at the same time, right?
No, I think she recognizes the limits of those things. I will yes and that and say that she used to both star and direct. And over time, she has been informed that she could do one or the other, and she preferred starring. So there is now someone else who she tries really hard to sometimes pseudo direct with them, and has been told that she is one or the other.
And I would like to suggest, and you can veto this if you want, because this is your pastime. I would like to suggest that one of your co-stars, of course, is Lieutenant Commander Jedediah Cole, who we know as one of the main security officers And a lot of people were surprised that he wanted to be in a musical, but then he mentioned how important it was for breath work and for proper footing and timing, and all things that are vital to a soldier's duties. And while he's normally a very taciturn person and hardly ever gives you a word in conversation, when it comes to reciting lines, he opens up a little bit.
I will run with that. By the way, I've never actually seen A Star Is Born. I just like looked it up right before, but it felt like this is a Star Trek thing. You take something that's like current in the time of the show, and it has turned into a classic over the years. So that's why it felt like it fit.
And it has star in the title, so Star Trek, Star Is Born. What's not to like, right?
Exactly.
I love it.
I love it. As we were talking about earlier today, I like to think you invite Danko to it, and he's very confused. And he's like, "It's very interesting music. I don't understand. Is there a metaphorical connection to stellar astronomy? I don't fully understand."
Yes. It is. It's a star, as in someone who has achieved fame. It was a very important thing during this time in history. Folks sought other people to notice. It was a very different culture.
Yes, and achieving fame is like brightness. Okay, yes, I can see it now. Yes, it makes
your star shines bright, and sometimes it shines too bright and fades.
Well, that's true.
Yes, it is a whole. Exactly. I knew, and you enjoyed the singing as well. Yes.
Well, to be honest, yes, it was very. And he's like looking at Monero, and he's just like kind of doing a little cut thing. It's like, oh, it was fantastic. You are very multi-talented. Yes, indeed.
Yes, thank you. I've reprised this role a few times, and I'm hearing some stirrings among the crew that I am getting a bit old for this part, and I quite object.
Well, age is but a number. For you and I, it's a very high number, very large, but it is still just a number.
It is growing yes, it is. I fear this might be my last time, so I cherish every moment. I feel like there's one of Dr. Talas's folk I'm hearing word that she may be next time this is done again. So I fear this might be my last.
She might say something along the lines of, "Dude, you just need to chill, brah." Something vernacular is very confusing.
Perhaps Dr. Talas could convince her otherwise, that this is not something that she wants to take up. But thank you for attending, and I'm glad that you appreciate the stage.
And he is naturally dressed in his flamenco dancing shirt, and like him and Monero are going to go hit the clubs. So, really.
On a funny aside about the Star Is Born, I had completely forgot that it had been remade by Lady Gaga. So when you were talking about current, I was like, "What, Streisand? That's like 50 years ago." And then I was like, "Janet Gaynor? That's 1937." I'm like, "What are you talking about, current?" And then I was like, "Oh, that's right. I'm just old."
Don't worry, Aaron. Age is just a number, and yours might be a big number, but it is just a number.
I put that on my mom. When my mom turned 70, I was in charge of the cake, and so that was the message. I had the baker put on the cake. It was it went over really well. She quite enjoyed it. Yeah.
All right, and
about these things.
From there, we cut to Dr. Talas, who's probably telling someone to chill. What are you doing, Dr. Talas?
Bruh, you just need to totally chill out and like let her go. It's non-tubular to do it this way.
And you're in the medical bay, and someone's there with a broken arm, crying in pain. No, I'm kidding. So what are you up to?
So Dr. Talas is an Andorian Betazoid. She has the blue skin and the little antennae, but a dual-toned hair to kind of represent both of her races. And quite often, when it's free and not filled with musical theater, she'll head to the holosuite to hit either the slopes or the waves. recently it feels like the seasons have changed and she's been more into the snowboarding recently for whatever reason. So you can see her just cutting and grinding on edges. And otherwise, she seems to spend a lot of time in medical, on a skateboard, kind of going in and helping a workaholic, a little bit of a hidden one, not one that you would necessarily notice or realize that she's spending more time in medical than would be healthy, but she's there quite a lot.
It makes sense that you'd be doing snowboarding right now because it is actually December. It's about the middle of December right now. We go by star dates in Star Trek, but the old calendar does still exist. So maybe you're trying to embrace that a little bit. Would you be with someone when you're snowboarding, or do you go by yourself?
Mostly she goes by herself. She's definitely really cutting slopes. Not a lot of people speak like she does. I totally don't know why. Like, I think this is totally just like what could catch on. But yeah, right. It seems like a way for her to meditate or focus.
Do you have any hologram characters that speak the same way as you?
Oh, that is a good point. Yes. Definitely she'd be pulling from the 1996 Winter Olympics. I'm guessing that's a year for Winter Olympics. I didn't check.
Like the cast of Johnny Tsunami, maybe?
The cast of Johnny Tsunami. Definitely Bill and Ted. Let's see here. Maybe some
all
of
the old
the
vids.
people from Lost Boys as well. 98. Okay, thank you.
Lost Boys, that was filmed where I live. I don't know if I've ever mentioned that before, but all right. Yeah, I love it. Awesome. And you all are in these various pastimes. You've had plenty of time for recreation because duties are relatively light now. Everyone is on edge because you could be called to yellow alert, red alert at any moment with a Z'Azollarh class cruiser nearby. But the actual job load isn't that demanding. So everyone is just trying to enjoy and specifically actively trying to take the edge off to make sure that the nerves don't fray too much. And that is when we cut to, again, a shot of the Intrepid throughout space. In the distance, we see the Z'Azollarh class cruisers way across on the other side of the demilitarized zone. And then the Intrepid goes to warp. We hear Captain Shelby again. Captain's log, supplemental. I may have spoken too soon. We have received a priority 1 message from Starfleet ordering us to the Dran Onkos system, just on the edge of the DMZ, to lend assistance to a research base that has gone silent after sending out a disturbing message. Looks like our routine patrol is going to be anything but. We cut to all of our senior staff, you all, with Captain Shelby in her briefing room. Starfleet has given us new orders. We are to proceed at maximum warp to the Dran Onkos system. It'll take about 7 hours to reach the system, and once there, we are to secure the Engstrom research base and recover its data at all costs. Seeing as the system is currently in dispute with the Cardassians, we are also to ensure that none of the base's research falls into Cardassian hands. While we don't know the nature of the emergency, we have one final transmission. And she looks to the computer, which then plays, you hear a little bit of static. The mutiny failed. They're everywhere now. And then it cuts out. As I'm sure I don't have to tell you, there has not been a large-scale mutiny in Starfleet's history for some time. We've had, of course, our share of troubles, but most mutinies are done for the sake of what's right. And, well, let's just hope that our people there are doing what's best for Starfleet. The
Captain.
research facility? Yes, Commander.
Just a quick question. Does the voice print on the final message match any of the particular crew from the research station?
Yes, it's been identified as senior stellar researcher Amelia Adams. The research facility is located on Drononkos Prime. The planet is tidally locked with the star, meaning that one side is always in daylight, one side is always in night. The base is located on both sides. Half of the structure is on the night side, the other half is on the day side. The majority of the housing, recreation, and operations are, including the shuttle bay, are on the night side. The research labs are on the day side. There are 2 surface tubes that are just under 5 kilometers long, and they connect the 2 halves by a tram system. The base commander is a Vulcan named Vitak. There is a total complement of 64, 55 researchers, and 9 support staff. There's accommodations for up to 75. It has Type 2 solar shields, as it is quite close to the sun. There are 2 shuttles, of course, no warp capabilities. There's no way for anyone to leave the planet without a ship coming to pick them up. The research facility's primary mission was to research the deuterium potential in the low-mass brown dwarf. Phase 1 was limited protosphere agitation, gas sampling. Phase 2 was inversion testing for coronal mass capture and refinement. And Phase 3 is classified. Whatever that information is, it is vital to Starfleet, and we do not want it falling into Cardassian hands. Any questions?
Could you repeat the stages again?
Yes. Phase 1, limited protosphere agitation and gas sampling. Phase 2, inversion testing for coronal mass capture and refinement. And Phase 3 is classified.
So, given what they're doing, is it possible I could theorize what they might have been doing? Might be classified. Just to have a working theory.
I absolutely think you could try to have a working theory. This would be insight, of course,
okay.
And then science.
Okay. And then I'm assuming astrophysics would be okay?
Astrophysics would be great, yeah.
Okay. So, and do we have any momentum or anything yet? I can't remember.
This is our first roll of the session, and every new mission, the momentum resets. So we're going in without momentum. You can give me threat.
Yeah, you can take a threat. I do want an extra one. Okay. So I'm looking for, you said insight, so I'm looking for 13s or under, and I do have a focus. And did you tell me a difficulty? I haven't looked at the results yet.
This would be difficulty. I don't think it'd be too hard. Let's call it difficulty 1.
Okay. Okay, so I've got a 9, a 4, and a 16. So that's 3 successes.
All right, 3 successes. So are you... You're definitely able to tell that they are trying to harvest materials from the star. Their purpose with capture and refinement, they're likely trying to create some new energy source. So whatever the Phase 3 classified is, likely is something to do with like a drive or some sort of... It wouldn't replace a warp core, but it would be able to be used for planets like in the far-flung systems that it would be impractical to have a warp core there, things like that.
Okay.
Do you want to ask questions?
I don't know if I have enough to go on, but I'm willing to take them from the audience, from everyone in here. Does anyone have any questions you wouldn't mind to ask? Because I can spend like one momentum.
One momentum to get 2 questions.
2 questions for me. Question number 1, is exposure to deuterium, has it ever caused any sort of psychological side effects for researchers that have studied it at length?
It causes physical side effects. If anyone is breathing deuterium gas, they will likely suffer serious consequences within 5 minutes or so. Psychological side effects have not ever been noted.
Okay. All right. Then for the second question, oh geez. So what's the second question?
Yeah.
See, I'm looking at it. So it's limited photosphere agitation and gas sampling, and then inversion testing for coronal mass capture and refinement. And I'm assuming
known uses for refined deuterium.
Or how common are these experiments with brown dwarfs?
Or maybe how difficult or how dangerous is actual containment or capture of this sort of inversion testing in phase 2?
So that's the question: how dangerous?
Yeah, something like that. Like how difficult
With
it is, or how
proper
dangerous.
precautions, it's not dangerous whatsoever. You are capable of creating tanks and things like that that would protect people. So as long as there are no complications or sabotage, it's perfectly fine.
Okay. All right. Good to know.
All right.
I think that's all he has to go on for now. I don't know if I really have a very clear, like I could go ahead and make a free tag at this point. I'm not sure I have enough to go on though. I need more information.
Yeah.
We'll get there.
We'll get there.
All right. Captain Shelby, are there any more questions?
Captain, do we know if any of the bases complement are reporting in unofficial channels or using their own personal logs to attempt to communicate?
We have not received a single transmission other than that final one from Amelia. The base is in a far-flung system on the demilitarized zone. It is very much disputed by the Cardassians. If they were trying to get communications out, it's likely that the Cardassians would have heard as well. We would see more ships massing there. I think it's safe to say that this is their final transmission 4 days ago.
And they did not report any unusual Cardassian activities in the area prior to this supposed mutiny?
There was no Cardassian activity reported prior, no.
Okay.
Very well. We have about 4 hours now before we reach the system.
Can I actually introduce my tag? I just thought of one. Oh no.
Oh.
Oh, I see the spinning circle.
Not fully gone though. Not fully gone.
Reload player.
There we go. We're good. We're good.
I see it.
All right. Very well. We have about 4 hours before we reach the Dranonco system. I suggest you do any sort of research or preparation that you need. Gather your things. I will be sending you all as an away team. Yet again, seems that you have worked well together. I would like to replicate that success. The research facility has very strong solar shields, so we will not be able to transport you in without them having a transporter pad themselves. So you will be taking a shuttle down to the surface. I expect that you'll remain in constant communication and keep us updated the entire time. Dismissed.
Dr.
You all, yes.
Talas, can you synthesize or prepare any potential antitoxins for the deuterium, potential deuterium poisoning, and just in the event that we may run across members of the research team or ourselves be overexposed while we're on site?
Yeah, like totally, bro. Computer. You there?
You keep talking after you say computer. The computer doesn't respond.
Right, yeah. Computer, can you show me common symptoms and medical responses for deuterium exposure?
Collating symptoms and causes of deuterium exposure. And you see all these lists coming up, files being popped up from decades of research. This is an element that Starfleet has quite a bit of information on. It's not exactly that rare, which is probably why the base is focusing on that, because it can be found in a lot of stars. And the actual gas itself, if there's a gas leak, it can be solved with having proper exosuit. So EVA, that's what I'm looking for, right? Why can't I remember the word? It starts with an E. That's all that matters. So yeah, as long as you have the mask or the suit, you'll be fine. You won't have to worry about that.
Yeah, totally. Like, bro, Argent, we gotta like mask up for this. Maybe EVA suit.
Excellent.
I will say that right now you have no inclination that deuterium has been exposed or that the base is contaminated.
Better to be safe than sorry. Good work, Doctor.
Yeah, totally do.
All right. So you go make your preparations. You get your gas masks and everything that you need. They're very lightweight because they're Star Trek. You just need to cover up the face, maybe a little bit extra protection for the eyes as well to be safe. And you reach the Dran Onkos system. And this is a Class T brown dwarf. You immediately start getting strange readings throughout this system. All files on record note that the magenta substellar star has only a single planet in orbit, and that the star is very stable with an average surface temperature of 940 Kelvin. But sensor readings right now are terribly erratic. The temperature has risen to 1100 Kelvin and is unleashing strong bursts of X-ray radiation throughout the system. As long as ship shields stay maximum, as long as the base shields stay maximum, you don't have to worry about that radiation. Any sort of extravehicular walking will expose you. Is there anything you'd like to be doing here? You're close enough, you can scan the research base, you could try to be doing a damage report, or you can scan the system for stellar observation. Or we can go ahead and just put you on the shuttle and move down.
I think definitely scanning for any type of signal, communication signal, ship signature, like anything else, that's here.
All right. Would you be scanning for? It sounds like you're scanning for the research base, then trying to get signal from them, or are you trying to scan the system entirely? Is it focused or broad? Is what I'm asking.
I would say starting broad,
Okay.
More what else might be lurking in the shadows, as it were.
All right. Then let's call this reason science, and it's going to be difficulty of 2. But if you do well, there's more information you can get.
Oh, I said the thing that wasn't my best thing to do, so I'm trying to roll.
Someone can assist you as well, and actually,
What's the roll?
you could also mention reason science.
I mean, I guess Nico can help.
You could also mention how the Intrepid has advanced sensors, which would lower the difficulty if you want to mention that.
Of course it does. And I also have subspace communication. And that's one of the things that I'm looking for is any kind of communication signals that are out there in addition to ship signatures, warp signatures.
Okay. Yeah, sounds good. All right, so that bumps it down to difficulty 1. And you have an assist coming from Danko.
Yeah,
Danko.
I do. Does my astrophysics apply here?
Yes, it would.
Okay, so that's 2 successes as I rolled a 2. It's
All right,
in my
Hassel,
science.
you've got 2 already.
Thank goodness I had those 2 because I rolled a 13 and a 15. So
Are they both fails?
Yes.
Okay, well, his
count.
assist only works if you get a
if I
single
pass.
success. You could spend a determination to re-roll if you'd like, if you could draw on one of your values.
My determination is all cleared now, correct?
You start each mission with 1 determination. So you could spend a point of determination now, yes.
Okay. Sometimes you just I'm sorry. I can spend the determination if I have a value.
No, you can. I shouldn't have mentioned values. That doesn't necessarily matter now. If you've got the point, you can spend it now.
Yes, I do have the point.
And that allows you to re-roll any number of d20s.
Okay. Including both of them?
Yes.
Okay. I'll try to roll better 10. All right, got a 4. So now I have 3 successes.
All right, 3 successes. And we were at difficulty 1 there. You do not pick up any sort of communication whatsoever. In fact, most of your sensor readings are coming entirely from this brown dwarf star, because it's giving off quite a bit of strange, very erratic readings. The star is steadily gaining temperature. It's increasing its convection currents, and its surface is starting to destabilize. If you want to spend momentum here, there is something else I can tell you, but you don't have to.
Yeah. If that's accurate, that we have momentum to spend, I would like to spend one.
Yeah. So spending momentum here reveals this process will increase over the next 12 hours, at which point it will start throwing stellar mass into the system, which will be very dangerous to any ship in the vicinity. So essentially, you are working on a very tight countdown of evacuating this base. You have 12 hours as of the star's current readings. And these current readings go against everything you have in Starfleet files for this system. The star was very stable in prior files. All right.
So obviously, Hessel and Danko will make sure to update everyone. It would appear that we have a very limited amount of time to do this. The star is getting hotter, and we have but hours to complete our mission.
Gnarly.
Well, let's get planet-side then. Hey, Steven, so our EV suits, if we go in a full EV suit, they'll protect us from X-ray radiation, correct?
They would protect you from most X-ray radiation, yeah, if you go in a full spacesuit. As of right now, you don't need to worry about that too much. As long as you pack them in the shuttle, you'll be able to put them on if needed. Your shuttle will protect you, and then the bases, the actual base, you haven't scanned yet to get any major readings, but the basic sensors would tell you that the shields are still active there. So if you're in the base, you don't have to worry about the radiation.
Okay.
And if someone wanted to, they could have definitely scanned the base while Hessel was scanning. I won't dock you for time or anything like that.
Then I would like to have scanned for residual nation particles as well as ionized deuterium to see if the firefight happened, because they were talking about a mutiny. If I'm expecting injuries or leaks.
All right. This would be reason science as well.
I can totally do that. So reason and science, that's a 15 for me. I'm
This
just
is going to be difficulty of 1.
Then I will just roll 2 dice. There we go. I have rolled a 1 and a 3.
All right.
Wow, way to roll.
It does.
So
pretty
that's
good.
3 successes?
Yes.
All right.
Oh, my science is 3. So would that... No, because
If
I
you
didn't
had a
use
focus.
No, I don't think I can... No, I definitely can't bullshit any of those.
All right. So your basic scan of the research base does not show... what is nation particles? I feel like I should know that, but I haven't said that yet.
Residue phaser fire.
Okay. Yeah,
Specifically the Starfleet phasers. I'm not looking for Ferengi phasers anyway.
You would find nadium particles then. You'd be picking up quite a few sensor readings of that. You also pick up life forms, but the number continues to vary. There's 24, 47, 942. You scan again. It starts off saying 24, and it says that as a final answer, and then it updates again to 47. And then it updates again to 942.
Like, totally, dudes, we either can't get a good reading out of this, or we're dealing with some, like, timey-wimey stuff again. Look at these readings.
Well, we're not going to be able to figure it out from here, so...
As we're
Your
going
scan also reveals that the power is down. Sorry, just one sec.
No,
the power is down. Solar shields are still engaged at maximum. And the base does have minimal life support. Everything appears to be functioning off battery. Yes, Jeff.
The numbers that you said that were fluctuating, like, is it the same numbers? Is it pattern and cycling through the same handful of numbers? Okay. All right.
Good.
What were the 3 numbers again?
24, 47, 942.
Okay. Very curious.
Interesting. And we're getting this on a life signs scan?
Yes.
As you're scanning the entire base, that's part of the comprehensive scan, yes.
Okay.
All right. The 5 of you pack up your shuttlecraft. You have EV suits at the ready if needed. You know that there is a shuttle bay there, and you begin piloting.
Well, we also
Yeah.
dropped Type 3 phasers in the shuttle for all of us, and we're carrying Type 2 phasers.
So I think just calling on the Type 3 phasers adds threat. I think that's escalation there. If you'd like to do that, that's fine, but I would get escalation for each. No?
Nah, that's okay.
I don't mind if you do it. Okay. So you have the Type 2 phasers on the ship ready to go. You are in the shuttlecraft. You take off. Am I correct in assuming that Hessel and Danko are the ones piloting again?
Sure. Yeah.
All right.
We really need to
that
make a
works.
pilot like
We
support
do.
character.
Monero. He's helm.
Oh, we could take him.
Careful. We'll never get anything done, him and I.
It is a very safe flight path. You're going from your ship down to the planet. The planet has no severe weather, no real atmosphere, actually, to threaten your shuttlecraft whatsoever. And it only takes a few minutes as you're traveling down. You see eventually the research base appears in front of you. There are 2 halves to this base. One side is much bigger than the other. And then there are 2 tubes that connect both halves, one of which has a massive crater in it as it has been destroyed. If someone would like to give me a control engineering with difficulty of 1, you could get a few more details. Otherwise, we're going to move on.
I can roll that if. All right, I will quickly. Ooh, ouch! That's a 20 and an 8, so 1 success
And a complication.
and a complication.
All right. I am going to use this complication
Sorry.
in just 1 second.
We're about to crash.
No, you have to use it now.
That's
Sorry.
Fine.
You rolled so well last time. You rolled a
No.
1, and then you rolled a 20.
I did.
The base has taken extensive internal damage. And, of course, one of the tram lines between the 2 parts looks like it's taken even heavier damage. There is also bulkheads that have locked down in the tram line. And you can tell from sensor readings there's a fire contained in them. And emergency bulkheads will hold no more than 24 hours. Of course, you only have 12 hours left with the sun anyway, so 24, that's plenty of time. The damage was caused from the inside, possibly through the use of a mining charge.
Hessel and Danko were kind of just piloting this shuttle down. So,
Yo,
Which
dude,
brings us
look
to
at
our
that.
complication. I would like a control con task, difficulty 3.
that you just picked
Okay.
the thing that I am built for, if I can roll it, or if someone else has to roll it.
I think you should
No,
roll
both
it.
of you are rolling it. One of you assists.
Oh, and I
okay.
definitely will assist because this is not at all what I'm built for.
This is, I mean, I shouldn't have said that out loud, but I'm rolling under 16 for this because I have 11
Nice.
in control and
This is-
5 in con.
Don't make this your new jumping.
That
This
is
is
a
why you're the
fail.
pilot.
I rolled a 10. I
Fail,
needed
okay.
a 9.
Hessel, are you going to take some dice, or are you going to just roll the 2 and hope for?
Oh, heck no.
Can
I'm going to
more
take some
than one
dice.
person assist?
On this, I'm going to say no. There's a pilot chair and a co-pilot chair.
Yeah, I think
Just a second,
Danko
'cause I have
is distracted, like looking at like the results that as Talas is kind of
Reading
going
all
and trying
the-
to figure that out.
yeah.
He's probably just kind of looking over and like, what do you need?
So I can take. I'll take 1. So I will roll 3 dice and see if I can get under 16. I don't have any focuses that will work
Do you wanna-
here.
Do you want to take 2 more momentum and take another dice? Take 4 dice?
Sure,
Better than crash.
Yeah,
let's do that.
crashing could be
Sorry
fun,
about the 20.
Could be
but
fun.
it would hurt.
All right. So it's a good roll. So I got a 6, an 8, and a 15 that are all under the goal of 16.
That's 3 successes. You had difficulty 3, so you succeed. The shuttle is very slowly gliding down, and just as you enter the shields of this research base, which are generous, like they're not specifically around the building, there's plenty of space in there for you to still fly around. The shuttlecraft is rocked as another explosion happens on the surface from that same tram line. Everyone does the Star Trek shake. Category 7 shake as you are thrown across the shuttlecraft. Thankfully, Hessel, with your piloting, you maintain control of the shuttlecraft. It is not damaged whatsoever, and you are able to continue piloting down to the shuttle bay. You see that there is smoke rising from this research base. It was already on fire. There is a second crater in that same tram line as something else has caused an explosion. You managed to land in the shuttle bay, and it's clear there has been fighting in this bay. As soon as you are pulling in, you see your lights light up. The shuttle bay has no overhead lighting. The base is on emergency power. You just have like these floodlights on the front of your shuttle, and they go over a few crates and things like that are stacked as if a barricade for defensive positions, and leaning against one of those barricades is a dead ensign with a phaser burn to his face. There is another dead ensign that is lying near the door, and you come in, you see that there is space for actually 2 shuttlecraft to land in this bay. One of the shuttlecraft is missing. So you land where the second shuttlecraft should be. You do a quick sensor sweep. You ensure that there is still life support. There is no deuterium poisoning or anything like that you need to worry about at this moment. What are you doing?
Alice, I don't want to tell you your job, but it looks like they took some damage there. And Tesla's just pointing at the ensign.
I totally see that. I'm gonna go, and Talas will kind of, knowing that they're already dead, just like double check their wounds and see if there's any further along in the eye line that might still have survived.
Yes. Doc, before you get off the shuttle, let's let Dvorggern go first in case this is an ambush.
It's probably too late at this point. Sorry, Argent.
Talas is already off? Okay. And then Dvorggern close behind Dvorggern?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
And you...
Don't worry. If someone ambushes us, Steven's just going to hit Melissa.
Yeah, that's true.
I'm all the way at the back. All the way at the back.
That's what the dice rolled.
That's what the dice are going to roll. It's just what they're going to roll.
All right, so there's a phaser directly under the pilot seat that shoots up at Hessel.
Someone was like lying down waiting for a ship to land on them.
Okay. Talas and Dvorggern, you go. Dvorggern, you immediately start working on sweeping the bay, looking for life readings as well, looking for any activity, finding none. Dr. Talas, give me a control medicine task.
Sure. I do have emergency medicine as a focus.
This would be great for that, yes.
Yeah, okay, cool.
Or triage would work too.
That's true. I have both of them. Okay, sorry. You said control medicine. That is a 16 for me. I'm going to roll 11 and a 5. The 5 is at my medicine, which means that I do get 2 successes with it. Yes.
All right, so that's 3 total successes?
Yes.
All right, and it was difficulty 2, so you're banking a momentum there that you can spend or just bank.
I'm going to bank it because these guys like to use them all the time.
That's how the game's played.
You see that
So you're very good at it. I will bank them for you.
He did very clearly die from a phaser, but there was also something seriously wrong with him before. You're checking, and his readings are just off. If you'd like to find out more, you'd have to spend momentum.
I will spend the momentum that I just got to find out more.
All right. As you look a little more closely with this exam, and for the audience, I am adapting a first edition mission to second edition, which is likely why the obtain information and then the spend momentum on this task don't always play the same. But spending momentum on this task reveals that he has a puncture wound on his back, and his nervous system looks like it has all been all but destroyed.
Like everybody, there's a total like non-radical bit on this guy here from the back. It looks like they imploded his nervous system with this here in the injury you see here.
Dr. Talas, as you thinking back across the Starfleet medical records, have you ever encountered or heard of anyone encountering something similar to this?
Steven, would I be able to roll for that? No. Okay.
Not off the top of your head, no.
Like, not even Bill and Ted ever told me about any of this stuff in their time travel.
Doc, your terrifying obsession with 20th century Terran pop culture aside, let's try to figure out what it was that caused this injury. We should probably be making our way to CNC, Command and Control, to try to get power up to the base, download the data banks, and figure out if there's anyone actually alive still on this base.
That's an excellent point, Aaron. And if you don't mind, Aaron, can you go to our traits and add main power down and main computer down? So you are on the night side of this research facility. And this has the crew quarters, the mess hall, medical. It has you would also have schematics telling you the basic layout of this base. That's not classified, so you would know where everything is. The first floor that you're on is mostly storage space. You know that the lift would not be functional with just the emergency power, but you have access to Jeffrey's tubes. The second floor has the mess hall, the crew quarters, and medical. And then third floor is operations. The third floor also connects to engineering, transit, and life support, all of which are currently sealed off by emergency bulkheads. Just a quick access to your to the research-based computer tells you that. So operations would be where you would have to go first to try and get through there.
Question. How much
Yes.
power does the shuttle that we took generate on its own? Like, would this be something where we could get partial power restored by using the ship's power?
You already have partial power from the research's battery banks. I don't think the ship would be able to provide much more power than the battery banks already have.
Well, let's make our way to
Proceeding with
operations.
caution.
Oh yeah.
We don't know, obviously, we don't know what happened here. We don't know if these people were attacked. They've obviously all been suffering from some sort of psychological breakdown. So set your phasers on stun. But stay frosty and keep your eyes open.
Vice
Talos
is gonna
definitely
have.
is scanning for life. Sorry, go for
Yeah,
it.
same thing. I was like, if you're doing life science, I think Vice is constantly scanning like atmosphere, trying to like just see if there's any kind of particulate change or anything like that as we go.
Atmosphere reads fairly normal. As you are in the shuttle bay still, you don't see anything that's too alarming. I'll let you know if something changes that would affect that. Dr. Talas, scanning for life forms is actually very difficult. Your tricorder picks up 24, 47, then it just starts beeping, 942. And it seems that it cannot decide how many life forms there are. Every time you restart the scan, it goes 24, 47, 942.
Could it be someone trying to send a signal? Perhaps. Is it possible that someone could manipulate the data that one might receive on a standard life science scan? Because it would be standard operational procedure in this sort of situation to sort of figure out who's alive, who's here. Is it possible that that could be manipulated?
I think no roll necessary. It's possible that someone could create a sort of pseudo signal that would send out life scans, but it would have been probably a bit more difficult than the resources that a base like this would provide. This base was scientific in the sense that it was focused on astronomy. It had a basic medical bay, and it would require quite a much more elaborate medical bay. Even the Intrepid would be slightly pushing it. The Intrepid could do it, but it would take a lot of work. For a research base like this, I think that would be above their capabilities.
Okay. So then it's either something's interfering with the scan in a sort of systematic way, or there are other types of life signs that might be getting intermittently picked up. Like, when you scan for life signs, are you scanning for like humanoid life signs? Is there any sort of distinguishing?
So your computer would scan for all sorts of known life signs that Starfleet has recorded. So to answer either A or B or both, it's both, essentially. The computer could be having interference. There could be something that like shields the life signs, or it could be that it's just a life form that the computer has not really come across and is unable to properly detect.
Okay. All right. And Vice is saying all this out loud while like next to Talas, like we're both scanning with tricorders while those with guns step out in front.
And you have just constant red flashing lights for the emergency backup lights. You are moving through this research base just by the walkway lights that are built into the floor. They don't illuminate anything other than the path ahead of you. So it's likely that you have your flashlights that you brought of some sort to generate light as you're going through. Shadows are constantly like flickering about as the red lights turn on and off. And the first room you move through outside of the shuttle bay is the storage. There's not much to learn from storage. Many of the supply crates have been rummaged through without any sort of care. Almost all of them are labeled with scientific instruments, basic supplies, things like that. There is, of particular note, a security crate that was forced open. These are the types of crates that require a sort of clearance to open, and someone has brute forced their way in. It contained 8 hand phasers, type 1, of which all but 1 is missing. You all brought your own phasers, so you don't need to necessarily worry about taking that, but you might grab it just to make sure no one else has it. Otherwise, you're not really seeing much of note. There's a lot of cargo here, but that is the one that really stands out to you. On the other side of storage is the crew quarters. And you start making your way into the hallway. You smell phaser burns.
So
yeah, go ahead.
So while we're walking around, I know they're trying to scan for life forms, but could I just, being in security, or being a security officer, can I just do it the old-fashioned way where I'm looking for the types of signs and things you would see from something scuttling about, walking about? I mean, if there's failure marks, were they aiming it? Was something being aimed at that was moving? Stuff like this.
Yeah, so far you haven't come across enough evidence to really piece something together, but that is absolutely something that you're capable of doing. We'll say you get to the first crew quarters, you open it up, and that's where you are instantly hit with the smell of burnt flesh. As someone in security, you may be familiar with this smell. Someone was killed by a phaser here. Looking around, there is someone in the bed of this quarter that looks as if they were killed in their sleep.
Do they have the same puncture mark?
That would require a medicine check.
They come over and do that for you.
Before she
Control
does that,
medicine.
though, I want to scan, or I check the room for her before she walks in.
Yeah, so it's a small room. You got the bunk, the basic like dresser and things like that of personal items. If there was someone hiding, you'd be able to very clearly see that. And you do not see anything. There's no movement whatsoever. Give me control medicine difficulty 1.
Let me totally check that body for you. Control medicine. Let me roll that. I have a 12 and a 17, one success.
They were killed in their sleep. You can tell by the position, by the phaser, and it looks as if it happened about 6 days ago, which would have been 2 days prior to the last transmission.
Did the bodies at the front also appear to be slightly older as well?
Yes, it's safe to say that it's around that same timeline.
Okay. Timeline matches. These are like totally decomposed at about 6 days. Does it have the puncture mark as well? Sorry, did you mention?
Did not.
Just phaser, no nerve puncture.
Are they still wearing their comm badges?
Yes, they would. Well, no, they were asleep, so they likely wouldn't have it on, but they would have them nearby, and you'd be able to find them nearby.
We'll pick up the comm badges of all the fallen as we go, in case we're not able to recover their bodies. At least we'll be able to identify them.
Yeah, you're easily able to do that. You already have 3 of them, and as you move out of this crew quarters and you look through the other quarters nearby, you find 5 more bodies in quarters nearby that were also killed in their sleep. Looks like the same sort of thing. Someone just moved through and executed these Starfleet members. You continue moving through these hallways. You have your flashlights, the walkway lights guiding you, and you come to a crossroads nearby. There is a barricade, and you can tell that there was a battle that happened here, as there are 6 dead. 2 outside are very clearly killed by phaser fire. And we'll roll over your success there, Talas, where you're looking for the puncture wounds. The ones killed by phaser fire have wounds on their neck and back, similar to the ones with the shuttle bay. The other 4 are inside of this barricade that blocked off a section of this corridor, and they have died from blunt wounds to the head and body, with no sign of the puncture wounds.
I am systematically checking all the bodies regardless of how obviously dead they appear.
And Dvorggern, you were asking about like just the old-fashioned like putting stuff together. This would be a time you could absolutely do that. I would take insight security for this.
All right, that's a 14. For my focuses,
momentum.
So for my focuses would, I don't know, Starfleet protocol or strategy or anything like that apply to?
I think I might take. No, it doesn't think. I don't think either of those would really apply.
How much momentum do we have?
I got 2, so you could spend 1 to get 1 extra die, and then you could spend the second and give him a threat if you wanted another die.
I'll just take.
And this is difficulty but 1, by the way.
Yeah. All right, so I need to get 14 or lower. Okay, I got a 5, an 8, and a 10. So 3
successes. You can bank those, or you can ask for questions here in a second. But the fight was definitely between those with the mysterious wounds and those without them. You can tell that the unwounded were overrun and killed. Unwounded is the ones with no punctures, the ones who were hit with the blunt weapons to the head and body. There are 2 dead Starfleet that have the puncture wounds, which likely means that there were even more Starfleet members or other people with puncture wounds that were assisting in this battle and did not die. It looks as if that they only took 2 casualties, whichever side that was that attacked the people in the barricade.
For the ones with the puncture wounds, can I tell if there's any sort of healing? Like, did it happen while they were still alive? There's any sort of healing around that wound? Or did it definitely happen as part of the killing blow?
So the puncture wounds, it's safe to say, did not happen from the killing blow. Each person you've seen with these was killed by phaser fire, not by the puncture. That is just another injury that they have that's coincidental.
And it's more pre-mortem, not post-mortem?
Yes.
Guess we keep moving forward.
Commander Hessel's looking around for somebody to talk to. Communications officer. She's like, there's nobody left. I'd like to chat with someone. There's no one to chat with.
You
Dr.
continue
Talas
moving
will hold
through
up
these
a dead
halls.
body for you to talk to. I don't do it. I'm joking. I don't do that.
Including all the bodies that you've found so far, there are 14 dead scientists in total in the crew quarters here. A sizable amount of the total staff of this base.
And we had 55 plus researchers. What was it? The specific
55
allotment?
plus 9, 64 total.
So 64. So that would already
So
put us at 50. So
about a
we still
quarter.
don't even have one of those numbers yet. The numbers are all over the place. It's really weird.
Mhm.
Okay.
Beyond this barricade is the mess hall. It looks like this is where the last stand started. The room itself is in total disarray, with tables and benches knocked over and tossed aside to create hasty cover. Dvorggern, you specifically have been talking about like scanning for movement, anything like that. You would be the one to hear this then.
Is that like a suction noise?
Yeah, a little bit. A squelching noise would be a good description for it.
Okay. So, I don't know if it's sensitive to sound, but I'm assuming that Starfleet protocol has us all trained in some form of hand signs.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, for sure.
You have trained
Just
us to
the
make
theater, yeah.
You probably
Well, and for the
forced
theater
us.
of the mind, we're going to, yeah.
You have to
Argent's
make
doing
the
it
actual
for
hand
Dvorggern.
signs on camera for it to count.
Yeah, okay.
So the bird.
2 words. Sounds like.
But yes, I do alert everybody that I hear that there's something in the room, and I try to point out vaguely where it is. I even
There
open
is-
my mind up for Argent to read my superficial or my surface thoughts.
Argent, you took telepathic projection, but you have to require a roll to actually get thoughts. Otherwise, you get emotions, right?
No, I get thoughts. All surface
okay.
thoughts automatically.
Okay. So yeah, you can tell that Dvorggern has honed in on a target there. But like I said, this room is chaos. There are benches and tables knocked over. There's all sorts of debris. This was a mess hall, so there are things like plates and decor, and the floor is just littered with rubble, essentially. Trash, essentially. You start making your way towards that.
Well, I would, before we started moving, I would try to see if I can register a mind.
Okay. Good call. You can do that without a roll, right?
If it has surface thoughts, yes. If it,
Okay. You do
and
not
it's
register
not
anything.
immune. Okay. So he would he would say, "Hold on, whatever that is, isn't human, or at least is whatever it is immune to telepathic contact, or doesn't have enough of a mind for me to make contact with. So let's be prepared for anything."
Argent, as you say that, even quietly, that's when the squelching noise stops. And then you quickly hear a skittering. All of you, your attention is drawn to where the skittering comes from, and it sounds like the size of like a rat or something like that. You shine your flashlights, and you see this brown disc, essentially flying towards a wall, and it just
fried eggs.
immediately goes into a ventilation shaft.
Now, any of us who are in command, would we have the opportunity to recall any other ship's logs that might have encountered something like this that destroyed an entire colony?
Technically, it didn't destroy the colony thanks to some heroic actions.
Well, killed most
but-
of the people in the colony.
Yeah. All of you who died
Nerds.
probably have a different opinion of that.
I know
I would
Kirk's
say-
brother really would. Take
Yeah.
Or George.
I would say that it would require a check. This happened 100 years ago, and you've had no incidents with Starfleet encountering them again. So the idea of like immediately knowing what this is would be very difficult.
Mhm.
I think difficulty 5 makes sense here because that was such a niche thing
What's
to
this?
encounter.
What's the skill stuff for?
It would be reason and I think command. Like going through
Okay.
the files of Starfleet, things like that.
I mean, if we're talking xenobiology, this is sort of
Xenobiology would
Dagos's focuses. If that's something that you tell, if you ask Weiss about it, like that's something he might try to.
Well, yeah,
recall.
he would be projecting this into everybody's mind, thinking, there's something in the back of my mind about this. I could assist. I could try to assist you.
I could
Okay.
also assist with reason command.
I don't know
Not
if it
reason-
makes sense to have an assist here.
Okay.
Because like it's not like a group thought thing where you're trying to solve a problem. This is just pure memorization.
Okay, and you said difficulty 5.
I think so.
All right, I'm gonna burn the 3 momentum to get 2 dice, and I'm gonna burn a determination.
Right, to set one to a 1 automatic.
Yeah, so basically I would be rolling 4 dice. One of them I'm setting already at a 1, and then I'm rolling 3. And I would say, I mean, a lot of my values would probably come into play here. This could be every discovery begins with a question, and since Commander Argent asked, what is that thing? I think it begins with a question. Or every crisis is an opportunity. And since this is basically a crisis that we're in, this is an opportunity to perhaps learn about a new species. So I think either of those would probably play. So it's 2 successes, and I'm looking for a 15, I believe. 12 plus 3 for command. So here we go.
All right, so you need 3 more successes.
And I got them 11, 11, 14. So it's exactly 3
Hey, there we go.
successes.
Nice.
All right. So you would vaguely recall stories from your time in Starfleet of a colony on Deneva where there were neuroparasites. These were life forms that were not picked up by scanners, but they plagued the entire colony of Deneva, a Starfleet colony. Prior to their infestation of that colony, they had destroyed at least 3 civilizations that archaeologists had found. There was a pattern where they were moving through a sector of the galaxy fairly far away from here. And there were ruins of entire civilizations on multiple planets. These were spacefaring civilizations that were ruined by this neurological parasite. You would know that it looks like a huge brain cell, about a 1/4 meter wide, disc-shaped. It is a single-celled organism despite its size. And because xenobiology was one of the things that you know most about, it's safe to say that this would be something that, like the actual genetics of, you'd be more interested in. It appears that they were brain cells that were able to communicate with each other despite not being connected. How that communication happened was not discovered by Captain Kirk and the members of the Enterprise at the time.
Okay, so that's a complicated thought. So I don't think he's going to try to just think it. I think he will verbalize it in a low whisper and sort of, Commander, these creatures, I recall, and then he'll sort of give the backstory of what happened. They're the same, very dangerous. They are a hive mind. What one knows, it's likely another one. So if one sees us, all probably saw us. And this might also account for Dr. Talas's variations when it comes to life sign signals.
How did Captain Kirk and the Enterprise manage to deal with the infestation on Deneva?
Would I know that, Stephen, as part of my? I mean, it could always have been like classified or something, and maybe not in a public file.
I think it's okay to say you would know that. I think that would be like basic part of information on the file. they created essentially a light bomb. They required an array of satellites across the entire planet that exposed the planet with just a massive amount of light, and that was able to destroy these parasites. Unfortunately, that type of resource is something that takes time to come across, and the Intrepid is capable of doing that.
Yeah.
But with the 12-hour time limit, it's not going to be something that's achieved that quickly.
Once the stellar mass of that brown dwarf starts to erupt, we won't have to worry about these parasites. We just need to get everybody off first. I recommend we fall back to the shuttle and put on the EV suits. They're armored. They should protect us from infestation, as you described it.
And we should be...
Then we can move on to ops.
Extraordinarily careful with whoever it is. If we find any survivors, there's not a full understanding of how these creatures have traveled from planet to planet, civilization to civilization. They might be able to infest and use us as a transportation.
Well, if we come across any of them, we will stun them, take them back to the shuttle, fly outside of the solar shields, have the Intrepid beam them up and hold them in the pattern buffers of the ship until we can get to a medical starbase to deal with it.
Very good.
Yeah,
As
dude,
you
we
were
totally have to
discussing this.
save as many as we can.
And we're walking back to the shuttle while we're talking.
Well,
when
as you
Talas
were
says
turning
that-
around and discussing the story, you do hear from the nearby galley of this mess hall a groaning of pain.
Talas is going over there.
Have to accompany her so that she does not get attacked.
Talas pulls out her medical kit and starts hurrying over.
You open the door to the galley,
Mhm.
and you see Andorian in the shadows here as the red lights are flickering in a corner of this galley right next to some cabinets and a counter. He's just writhing in pain. He's got his head in his hands.
Bro, what's happening?
He continues yelling in response, but in between the gasps for breath, you hear the squelching noise.
Talas is pulling out hypo spray. Gonna try to knock him out.
All right. I think. Oh, hold on a second
Commander
here. As we
has-
fix our overlay.
Oh God, I wasn't
Run
looking at the
back to
screen.
the shuttle.
I thought we got disconnected. I'm like, not again. And I mean, not that this
No.
is good, but like, I was freaking out. All right. The very thing that we said was going to happen happened. Oh, never mind. Okay. I was going to say,
Okay.
we're finally going to figure out who is next in command. Has to log in.
Son of a bitch. I've been usurped.
Argent just collapses. Well, there's a new commander in town.
Dr. Talas, I'm not going to require a check for this, actually.
'Kay.
You go up with your hypo spray, and you're able to numb his pain. You can see that he looks at you as you're coming up to him. Leave! And then he goes and lunges towards you, but you were ready with the hypo spray. And as he gets closer, you hit him with it, and he falls to the floor unconscious, but then begins convulsing. He's racked by these convulsions, which you know that your hypo spray would not be causing this. This is something else that's happening. And you see the foam dripping from the mouth. He's starting to clench his jaw. You give him a better dose of the hypo spray, hoping to calm him.
Actually-
It's got no effect. I'm sorry, go ahead.
I pull out my laser scalpel and cut where I've seen the puncture wounds in some of the other dead bodies.
Yeah, so you turn him over to look at the puncture wound. There is a slimy residue there. There is no creature that Donko was talking about, but you do see that there is almost like jellyfish tentacles how they're clear and slimy and just, and they go out of the puncture wound and into the skin.
Dude, we totally can save this one. I just need to get it out.
Give me a reason medicine. This is going to be
do
difficulty
have
1.
Emergency, as a focus, emergency medicine. Reason
That absolutely
medicine. Yes. Let me see here. I have rolled a 2 and a 17, so that is 1 success. Actually, it's below my medical, so that would be 2.
2 successes. All right, so it's success and a momentum.
Yes.
You're scanning them with your tricorder. You look at this. You don't have the tools on you to perform surgery right now. That's not to say that you can't attempt to do something.
Yeah.
But as you're trying to get a reading, the pain centers of his brain are very active. You have sedated him quite a bit. He should not be feeling any sort of pain whatsoever, and yet he's still very much being tortured. You also detect foreign cells located all throughout his body.
Can I cut open the back area where the puncture is with the laser scalpel?
You could absolutely do that. I think it's safe to say from what you're doing, though, that from what you've scanned, that would be to get everything. You can tell that the foreign cells are throughout his entire body, not just the puncture wound.
Okay.
So it would be a varying success to get just a single area clear. If you want to grab a sample, that's absolutely something you'd be capable of doing.
I'm gonna grab a sample. I gotta try.
Yeah, I'm not even going to ask for a test for this. If you have Dvorggern and another one help hold him down, you can take the laser scalpel. There's the residue already in the puncture wounds. You're able to slice a bit open. You're able to cut a good 4-inch long section of this residue, this slime, this nerve, maybe? Nerve that's large enough you can see, and you have a sample.
Great. I've got a dermal regenerator. I'll try to keep him stable. If we can get him up to the medical ship, we can get him into cryo. We can still save him.
Well, for the moment, the priority is identifying the rest of the researchers, find out how many we have to protect and retrieve, and getting the data from the station. So we don't have time to ferry him up one at a time. We can move him back to the shuttle bay, make him as comfortable as possible, but he needs to be secured. We can't have him getting up and wandering around.
We had 12 hours. We're probably down to about 11.
Okay. If we can I tell sort of, no, this is the first time I've seen it, so I wouldn't have that information. Okay, if we can secure him, we got to get him back as quickly as possible.
Could we not contact the captain and see if another shuttle could come?
Yeah, that's what I was wondering.
Do
Do we
wanna
have
risk
comms?
that exposure?
That's fair.
You do have comms to the ship, yes.
Well, I mean, at the very least, we have to notify them about this situation. And if we're going to potentially be taking on survivors, getting a quarantine protocol in place, whether it's like what Argent was saying with the transport or something medical. So, the very
But
least.
also, we need someone to talk to the captain, some sort of communication.
I haven't doing anything else, so I can stand back and I can just communicate back that we.
You're
we
like
did find,
Sigourney Weaver from Galaxy Quest. You just repeat the just repeat the computer. It's so good. She's so good.
So
right,
basically,
Commander
kind of this conversation is happening. So Commander Hessel is the one that kind of communicates back to the Intrepid.
And you get Commander Shelby. Hessel, give us a report. What's going on down there?
Multiple dead bodies. We have discovered that there seemed to be some type of conflict between some individuals that have some type of puncture wound and those that did not. She'll kind of describe the information that Danko was able to provide us. We have found so far just one survivor that has been infected with the tendrils of this thing, and we will need quarantine protocols set up as soon as we're able to make a bit further progress here.
Understood.
Danko would
I've got
probably give
Yeah.
Hessel like a file reference or a planet reference so that the captain up on the ship can reference the very like file that he read about the previous-
you'll be able to send that like
Yeah.
through your tricorder as well,
Yeah.
along with
Okay.
the same communique. Captain Shelby responds. Understood. The situation is nebulous. I'm about to add another wrinkle. Long-range sensors have detected 2 Cardassian Gallar-class cruisers approaching the system. They're moving at high warp. We expect them to arrive in about 4 hours.
Okay, so 11 hours went down to 4 hours. Great. If you can, perhaps, if any additional information could be gathered with the file that I just sent up from Danko, any additional information as to how we may subdue these creatures, it would be most appreciated.
I'll see what I can do. I'll get you the information as soon as I have it. Remember your directives. Retrieve the stellar research data at all costs. Do not let it fall into Cardassian hands.
Understood. Hessel out. Well,
Commander
so we
Hessel,
have 4
one last thing.
hours. Yes.
Remember, this is not a rescue operation.
Yes, I will pass that information to Talas.
Shelby
out. 2 Cardassian ships inbound. We have 4 hours. And Dr. Talas, we have been reminded this is not a rescue mission.
All right, everybody, suit up. Get in your EV suits and let's make our way to ops. No more lollygagging.
Yeah.
We're going straight.
Oh my god.
Hey, he said the name.
Hell yeah. Does that mean we get max momentum now? Is that what that
I think so.
No,
Yeah.
no, it
That's
doesn't.
what it means.
No, it does not.
Max
That's a
determination
channel
across the
rule.
board for everything. Yeah, we're
Yeah.
You make your way back to the shuttle bay, taking your patient with you. You're able to secure him, no problem whatsoever, and you're able to suit up. It does take a little bit of time. We're going to say that you're down to about 10 and a half hours now, and you start making your way back to the mess hall then?
Well, we're going straight to ops. Whatever the fastest way to get to ops is.
You were already going the fastest way.
Okay.
So
Then, yeah.
you're going through this first floor, and the first floor is a lot wider, and then everything becomes a bit more centralized as you move through. So you make your way to the mess hall, and from there you're able to get to the Jeffries tubes. You said you want to head straight to ops.
Yep. We got to get computer.
Okay.
We got to get the main computer and main
I
power.
need to get
up,
that
so-
data. Yeah, I need to get that data for.
So the data, the research data, is on the day side of the facility as well. Operations is required to get up and going to be able to even reach the research side of the base. You make your way through the Jeffries tubes. As you go, you're climbing up through several ladders. The research base has several floors, but they're not just 10-foot floors. This is a big research base, and the actual base itself stands up to 50 feet tall over these 3 floors. Especially the first floor is the tallest. So it takes a bit of climbing to get there. And you also have to kind of work your way through these Jeffries tubes, as bulkheads have been closed periodically here and there. Whether it's because of being on emergency power or whether it was purposeful is impossible to tell right now. As you are making your way through the second floor, you have to move horizontally through some Jeffries tubes before you can continue moving vertically. You're in cover, but that doesn't mean that you don't get glimpses of the corridors and rooms as you're passing through them. Through one of the corridors, you do hear movement. You hear footsteps, the soft clink of shoes on the metal floors. Do you care to investigate, or do you want to keep going?
We need to keep moving. Once we get to ops, we'll turn on the internal communication system, and then we'll notify anybody who is still alive that they need to make their way to a location that we can control, and then we'll evac if we have time.
Fair enough. You continue with your focus in mind. You arrive at the 3rd floor. You exit the Jeffries tube into a corridor. and start making your way towards operations. You turn a corner and you see a group of scientists. They don't look happy to see you, though. Their faces are pained and anguished. You see that they are straining. As they hear you coming, they see you coming. They're each carrying wrenches or pipes or some other blunt object. You don't see any of them having phasers or anything like that. They look at you and they all start shouting, "Leave! Leave now! Go away!" But as they're shouting, they also begin sprinting at you full speed. They are down the corridor, so they're still a little bit away. We're going into combat here. You have the initiative because this was not an ambush. So who's going first? Argent has set phasers to stun.
I mean, I could keep the initiative for us, so I guess I could go first, and then All right. Well, I will just try to stun one of them with my mind. I want it because he want to do that anyway. He wants to reach out and feel the surface thoughts of the closest guy coming at him and try to figure out how much is still research scientist and how much of him has been completely co-opted by this creature. And then he's just going to try to stun him.
All right. Give me security presence, I think makes sense here.
Yep. So security and presence for him is a 16. And I do have my new focus of telepathic confrontation. So I will go ahead and roll that. I got a 10 and a 1. So 3 successes.
Right. 3 successes. It would have been difficulty 2 here. So success and momentum. You get 2 very conflicting emotions. One is just pain, overwhelming pain, and it threatens to wash over you as well. As you reach out to him, as you feel it, it's overpowering. You cannot help but to empathize with that pain, to feel it yourself, as if your own nervous system is buckling under the strain of this. The other thing you feel is that you don't feel anything from alien or another life form. You feel that the scientist is in there, but they have been cowed. They've been they've submitted to something, and you almost feel them saying, "Make the pain stop." That's the emotion. They're not necessarily saying that because their mind is just racked with pain, but you just feel that they just want the agony to end. You're able to stun them with your success, and they go down. They drop, and they start going into a convulsive fit, just as you saw the last one do. There are still 2 more scientists that are running forward, though.
So we'll just keep the initiative, and whoever's next can...
do you want to go, Zharg? I had an idea, but like if you wanted to just shoot, you can do that too.
Yeah, I'm curious to see your ideas. Go for it.
Okay, so I was wondering, given what Danko knows of what happened previously, and also what Jeff knows because he watched the episode, I want to try to modify my tricorder to emit a kind of like a rapid strobing UV pulse. So just to see if that can sort of disorient them, stun them, something like that. As ultimately ultraviolet light is sort of used as the... So I was thinking I could do something like that to...
That sounds like daring engineering to me.
Okay,
as you're trying to do this in a stressful situation.
For sure. Okay, I don't think I really have anything that would apply in terms of my focuses. So I'm just gonna go. What do you want for difficulty?
We'll say difficulty 2. Okay. Just like a normal ranged attack.
So I'm just trying to like flash at them as they're running at us. I will go ahead and take I'll take a momentum to get a 3rd die. Difficulty 2, huh? Daring. You know what? I'm gonna give you a threat, and I'm gonna take that last momentum. Give you a threat to get another die, just to be safe. I want this to work.
Cool.
All right. So I need 13s. I don't have any focuses in play, so it's just need 3 successes or 2 successes. Okay. That's actually an amazing roll. 2 9s, a 1, and a 7.
When are we getting those
successes.
dice cameras set up? And I say cameras plural. We only need one on Jeff.
The one I didn't roll over here is a 2. So like, if you want to count that one.
That was 3 successes, you said?
That's
I was
4
giving you shit,
successes.
so I wasn't paying attention. 4.
4
Okay.
successes, yeah.
So that's success and 2
busy
momentum.
Troll it. Didn't even hear.
So yeah, give us a description of what this looks like.
So I think what he does is he gets the tricorder, and he effectively starts modifying the kind of like the photonic emitters within the tricorder itself, and he kind of creates this like looping phase, and so that it's very much just like this strobe of ultraviolet light that just is kind of broadband shined in their direction, and it's just kind of flashing right directly on the 2 that are coming, and so he's just kind of holding it up as like Argent is trying to like reach into the mind of the one. He's trying to slow or stun the other 2.
He's using all of his clubbing time to make
Yeah,
tasteful
you saw that,
sounds.
didn't you? I didn't want to like beg for someone to see that, but like it was.
Oh, man.
Good job, Derek.
Let's not say that Monero didn't inspire that a little bit.
All right. So here's what I'm going to say. I'm going to say you can stun one of them like it was a regular attack, or you can create a trait if you would like that would make it easier to deal with these in the future with your success. Or do both if you want to spend the momentum.
Can I do both? Yeah, I was just going to ask. Can I spend the momentum because I do have 2 momentum, and I actually have 3 momentum because I spent 1, and whenever I spend 1, I get 2. All right, I get a bonus momentum. I get an extra bonus momentum that I have to spend. So there's still going to be 1 momentum in the pool. So whoever's keeping track, go ahead and add 1 momentum in the pool. So I will stun 1, and then I'll create a trait that just basically says, like, however you want to phrase this, but ultraviolet strobe stun, something like that. So it just kind of stuns them.
All right. Fantastic. And this scientist is rushing forward. She's female, mid-40s or so human, and rushes forward. She's in pain. She's got this wrench that she's swinging, and you have the strobe light that flashes in her eyes, and it really just blinds her, and she doesn't necessarily lose momentum, but she can't see for a moment, and she just turns, and that's when you have the flash go off again, and it flashes towards where that puncture wound is, and then that's when she just arches her back in pain, and then she just starts like falling lower to the ground, and your flash goes again and again, and the single flash by itself doesn't seem to be able to do a lot, but as it continues on, it kind of builds up, and it just it causes her to have so much pain there that she just falls to the ground. You hear the clank of the wrench hitting the corridor, and she falls unconscious at your feet. But there was a third scientist here that was rushing forward at the same time, and while one of them goes down, the next one does not. I'm going to give them a higher difficulty here to melee you. This is going to be to hit at you with this pipe that they're carrying. So this is contested because it's a melee attack. So this will be either Argent or Danko, because you 2 have stepped forward.
I almost want this
Danko,
trait to be
it's
called
going to be
Dank
you.
Stroganoff.
Dank straight.
I dig it.
This is daring security against your own daring security, but you're going to get... I'm going to remove a die, is what this is going to say for because of the trait that you just created. I'm going to remove a die from myself, from my roll.
Okay, for myself, I'm like, wait a second. That trait's supposed to help me.
Right?
Yeah.
You just stole my die.
I'm still going to spend a threat to get another die.
Then I'm going to spend a momentum, punk.
There we go.
Okay.
All right, so you've got 3, I've got 2.
All right. So here we go. Okay. So I got some good news and some bad news.
Okay.
Good news is I got 2 successes. Bad news is I rolled a lolly, so that's a 20.
Complication.
Do it.
All right.
Yeah.
Do you want to try and buy off that complication by giving me threat?
No, I've given you threat already, so let's take it.
All right. I got 2 successes as well. I believe Defender wins ties on this.
I agree.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Tie goes
So
to the
you're
base runner.
able. The pipe is coming down at you, but you have that strobe light still going, and you blind them in their eyes. They turn around. They're in pain. They're not going down the same way, but you're able to defend yourself. For that complication, 2 more scientists turn around the corridor behind you and join this fight. So there are now 3 up and 2 down. It is your all turn.
Classic academia. Where one scientist shows, they all just come out of the woodworks.
Dvorggern,
for
Talas,
sure-
or Hessel, who wants to go next?
Hessel, do you have any creative plans on how to deal with 2 new additional scientists? Because my plan
There's
is
one
just point and
right
shoot.
up in your face, and then 2 that are down the corridor.
Yeah, point and shoot is going to be the same. Just utilizing the trait.
Yeah. I guess I have an obligation to go as the security guy, so I'll go next, and I'll just try and stun the one that's up in our face.
All right. So the one that is up on your face, I'm not sure exactly if the rules say this, but they are right next to you. I think it would make sense that this would have to be a melee attack instead of a ranged attack, as you're trying to pull your phaser. If you want to use a ranged attack, there are 2 valid targets down the corridor.
I could go and try to hypo spray the one that's in our face. If that,
That would work to address
works.
the melee one. And then
Yeah.
Dvorggern can shoot the one that's
because
farther away.
I'm probably not going to shoot, so it makes more sense for me to try to knock them out with a hypo spray. Stephen, I would like to hypo spray, please.
All right. So this is going to be contested again. Your daring security. I would take medicine, actually, if you're doing this. Daring medicine.
Oh, thank God. I'll take daring medicine. Thank you.
And it'll be against their daring security contestant.
Okay. So I've got 1 success.
I'm going to spend another threat here to give myself another die to put me back to 2. But they're both fails anyways.
Yes.
All right.
I get that underneath the whatever sort of collar that they have, and going to knock them out with a hypo spray and kind of like lower them to the ground.
Yeah, and as you're lowering them, they are just the pipe falls with a loud clank. You hear the calls of the scientists behind. Leave! Go away! The one in front of you just as you like lower them to the ground, and you see they're just balling their fists as much as they can. They look like they want to strangle you and just want to give up at the same time as you lower them down, and then the spray fully takes effect. You had to give them a big dose. Something about this parasite, it makes them highly resistant to these sedatives, but you're able to overcome it. They fall down to the ground. I'm going to go ahead and have one of those scientists down the corridor start running towards you all, and then they're going to attempt to they're a scientist. They've just got a pad. They've got a pad, and they're going to just slam it down on... it would make sense that it's one of the 3 of you in the back, or 2 of you in the back, Hessel or Dvorggern, and it's going to be Dvorggern here. Okay. No worries. We're almost done. So, Dvorggern, give me a contested daring security.
Yes, very daring. Well, okay. Would strategy help me here at all?
Sure.
Okay, so then I got 2 successes. I rolled a 2 and an 18, and 2 is under my security score.
All right. I failed. And if you would like, I'll let you spend 2 of that momentum to take this person out as part of your defense.
Yeah, okay. I'll do like I concuss them so hard that they're out since they're in melee range. So I just swing them over my shoulder and slam them into the ground.
Yeah, we're going from Final Frontier to Frontier Scum, where you do your Aikido and turn their attacks against them.
Yes, thank you.
They slam to the ground, and then we're going back. It's Dvorggern or Hessel's turn. There is one more scientist down the corridor that is still standing. Hessel, go ahead and go.
Shoot at it. Yeah. Sorry. So to shoot, I'm rolling
security
and daring.
Control
probably?
security.
Or
control security. Okay, control security is 13.
And it's a difficulty of 2. It's not contested for ranged.
And what do I need to do to use the trait that Danko created with the UV stuff?
You're right. Difficulty of 1. With that trait, it puts it down at difficulty.
Okay. And we have no momentum, so I'm rolling this straight.
You can give me threat instead of momentum.
Yeah, I'll roll a 1 and a 4.
All right. So that's 3 successes.
Security's a 2, so yeah.
All right. What's this look like?
So, I mean, basically, Hessel was paying attention to Danko's information about, kind of what to do with the tricorder, for the strobe effect. And so she's kind of been watching everything and, kind of did exactly as it was said and tries to mimic the movements just in case that adds anything. So you see Hessel kind of doing this exactly.
We're all in a rave here. You're adding a stun phaser to the flashing lights. You got red lights flashing. You got the strobe from Danko, and then the phaser lights going. The scientist goes down with a thump. They start convulsing as well. Somehow, whenever these scientists, whenever they go unconscious, it seems as if they are still in pain. It's not putting them at peace whatsoever. We are going to end here for the night with you in this corridor surrounded by stunned and infected scientists. You still do not have power to the space. We will see what happens next time on Adventures in Lollygagging. Reminder, we will not be playing Star Trek next week, but we will be back the week after that. Very quickly, Aaron, I know you got to go. What's going on with Garblag?
So, unfortunately, there will be no Marvel tomorrow, Wednesday, because I will be on base dealing with asshats. However, Thursday, if everything goes as planned, Ben will be jumping into the seat for some Halloween hijinks as we start The Walking Dead. And if I am not in the brig after what I do tomorrow, I will be playing in that game and maybe Zombie Chowder.
Fantastic.
Fingers crossed.
As for me, I've got a new game that came out. It's called Huckleberry. It's a Weird West game, the Weird Frontier. Apparently, I like that word. I say it a lot. Jeff doesn't have it nearby because he doesn't like me, but Melissa, my true friend here. If you are interested in Weird West games, join our Discord because I run sessions of it on our Discord. They're free to play. You don't have to own the game. All you got to do is sign up. And it's a lot of fun. Thank you, Aaron. Appreciate you hanging in there with us. But yeah, Huckleberry's out. You can check out huckleberryrpg.com for all the goodies there. If you want to buy it, it's on DriveThruRPG. And we're doing pretty good. We've got great feedback. We've got great reviews. And if you want to see it played, I know someone who's run it. Jeff, who's running Huckleberry on YouTube and Twitch.
Yeah, I did. Yeah, it was awesome. It was a great game. If you like weird West horror, crazy, fun cinematic stuff, like I know that it sounds like I am saying that because Steven's in the room, but the weird thing is I actually say that when he's not. So it's actually a really fun game, and I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait to get back. And I already have an idea in mind of what we might run next when we next bring Huckleberry to the job. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be fun. Or to the channel.
But what else do we got going on with Lollygaggers?
Okay, so next up we've got Thursday. Thursday, we got a special one shot as it's National Talk Like a Pirate Day. So we're going to do our Pirate Borg one shot. We did it last year. It was a lot of fun. We're going to do it again. Then Friday this week, hopefully, if everything goes well with Aaron's work, we're going to be back to Dragonbane. And then on Saturday, we're taking Saturday off. I'm running some stuff offline, and then Monday. Very excited for this. Otherscape. We did our session 0. That's gonna be our first session proper. So if you want to see like cyberpunk / like mythos or mythological cyberpunk, it's basically what we're doing. So So come join us. What was the phrase? Come join us down in Arizona Bay because that's where we're at. It's gonna be fun. That's it, man. We good?
We good? Are we
All
going
right.
to raid someone?
We are, because the stream held up. We had one little blip, but we hung in there. We're gonna raid Perception Studio. They're playing some Changeling, it looks like. So let's go watch that. Have a great rest night. See y'all later. Bye bye.
See ya.